like if you go to Google and you type in Star Wars Day, it does something. Yeah.
If you're just typing Star Wars Day or May the 4th, it actually comes up with both things. If I just refresh the page, look, you get this cool little Easter egg, which we found out this morning.
There you go, man. So if you didn't know that, I discovered that this morning. I don't think I was the first.
I'm sure you weren't, but well, you did natively discover it. You didn't look it up.
I did natively discover it. I didn't Google it. So
it just happened. The other thing I want to talk about on here, if I switch tabs, tried to buy this. Came out a couple days ago. It's Lego R2D2 thing.
Wow.
It's a couple $100. You can't buy it. Like, it's sold out everywhere. So if anybody has the hook into one of these or has one they want to give me, that'd be awesome.
That's it, baby.
I would happily accept it. I literally can't buy it. I'm kind of annoyed that I can't buy it.
Super chat us an RTD.
If someone else, that'd be amazing. Another Star Wars related thing before we get to your pen too. Did you see this? Did you see this?
No, I haven't seen that.
Have you seen this? This is okay. So Disney says this is the headline they've gone with on Verge, by the way. Disney reveals its real lightsaber, and it looks extremely cool. So this is a character. This is the character that plays Rey at the Disney Experience in Florida.
Right.
This is real.
Oh, she's spot on, baby.
But this is the lightsaber's real in terms of it actually does that. You push a button and it does that.
That's kind of cool. So they've got like a sheath inside somehow. And
I guess so the theory that I saw was it's based on kind of like the theory of a tape measure, the way the tape measure pulls out. Okay. That's how it's going to kind of extend. They patented this thing. So they've initially said these are not for sale. These are going to be used they are props used by characters at the new Star Wars hotel experience in Florida.
Oh, neat.
I'm like, this is cool. I'm like, as if I didn't want to go in the first place. Now I really want to go.
Yeah, I do too. I want to go. I'm gonna go this summer, I think, for sure.
So I want to go see all the new like Disney stuff, but the hotel doesn't open until next year. So the hotel is going to be a 2-day, 2-night experience, right? You get to stay off planet. You're on a ship, and it's like an enclosed experience where there's character interactions, and you buy a 2-day experience, but you also get 2 nights in a hotel in Star Wars.
That's even cooler.
It's amazing. Cool. Apparently, it's fully immersive. You can dress Star Wars if you choose to. You can go the whole park. Okay. But it's very expensive.
Star Wars, but I definitely would go to it.
It's very expensive. It's about $3,000 for a room for 2 days. So
let's watch a video.
Yes, so the price is nuts. I will say that the price is crazy, but hey, if you're really really into it, like that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So tons and tons of cool Star Wars stuff today. I thought that was super cool.
All right. So I guess we can talk about our Star Wars code pen. You think, or so this is what started this. We were going to rank the movies from like the best movies from like best to worst. And there's everyone is, and so like Kevin was like, my list is controversial, so I coded up a code pen so we could reveal my list, and it's not the official Coder Foundry list. So don't cancel your subscription to the self-paced course because of my list of Star Wars.
Hold on, here we go. Before we talk about this, hold on. Yeah. So, quick disclaimer, which you haven't seen. I would just say the views expressed in this section are not the views of Coder Foundry; they're the views of Bobby Davis. So I'd just like to put that out there. This is just so you guys don't unsubscribe to us based on this list.
Yeah, don't cancel your self-paced course subscription because of where I put Solo in the list of best Star Wars movies.
So we did this for a reason, though. You wanted to talk about a specific something that you learned, and you're like, oh, I can do a code pen, and let's just put the Star Wars movies into the code pen instead of just talking about them. So that's what we did. That's what you did.
Yeah, and so like I learned last week about this thing called the details tag, and I should know everything about HTML, but I obviously don't. And I discovered it at the same time. Then I read a tweet. It was like 3 days later, I guess Twitter's listening to my conversations. And this tweet just appears in my feed that says that if you don't know what the detail tag is, he was ashamed of you as a developer and all this kind of stuff. Like, in other words, like coders today are like losing knowledge, and we just don't know what we're doing because we use Bootstrap. Basically, it was a slam on Bootstrap, and that, the details tag has been around forever. And I'm like, man, I just discovered that. And then I see this tweet, and it's like, so I didn't respond because I didn't want the argument. But, so I'm going to show you what the details tag is in case you don't know what it is.
Yeah. So let's.
And if you judge me for not knowing it until last week, that's okay too.
Shame on you. That's what I would say.
Exactly. So
there you go. So you threw this up in a code pen real quick. This is what you made.
Yeah, I did that. I think this morning, right after our production meeting, I put this together. So this is a code pen, and Kevin, you can put the code pen after we reveal our rankings. What a detail tag does is it allows you to hide things, and then you can spin it down like an accordion in Bootstrap.
So as far as your HTML goes, this is what it looks like, right? So you've got these details in here.
So details, and then I put some unordered lists in there, and then I styled it up with CSS. So so I put my movie rankings in there, so you can spin it down now, Kevin. See my awesome unordered list.
Here we go.
So my first movie is the first Star Wars movie. Obviously, is Empire Strikes Back. I don't think that's very debatable.
It is to some people, but to most, I think we
New Hope could be number one too, just because that's the original, and like it's hard to beat the original, and that's true. I mean, like it's really true.
Some people also put Force Awakens as number one. You know, I don't know who. Those people are, there are some.
So those are my definitive, I think, top three that most people really don't debate, because Return of the Jedi was with the Ewoks was awful. It made it awful.
Right. I think out of the original trilogy, I think everybody can agree that was the least favorite one. But look, what are you doing here? Man, what are you doing? Again,
so like Solo is my next favorite movie.
Just let me just put this up right here again. Let me just make sure these are the views of Bobby News.
And so Solo is my next favorite movie, and like the reason I like it, there's a couple of reasons we talked about it. The reason I like it is because when I went to see it, it was the first movie in all of the 11 original movies that showed what life was like under the Empire. And I can remember watching this movie. I'm like, man, this is unexplored territory. I really want to see more of this. Like, where Star Wars, the stormtroopers are not like cannon fodder for Luke Skywalker and everyone else, and they just stand in the way of laser bolts. I mean, and they're just there to die. Whereas these were like, they were more menacing. It was more thing. And then here's my second reason. And this has nothing to do with Star Wars. The moment I saw the scene on the train, where they're on the train and they're trying to make the heist or whatever. Yep. These dudes show up and they steal the heist from Han Solo and his crew. And I remarked to my son, we were watching it, I'm like, dude, that looks like Fallen and Destiny. Destiny should make a movie. So like from there, those two positive responses to that just frame my kind of like love for the movie. I just like that movie. And I also think that Danny Glover as Lando is like spot on and fantastic.
Yeah, and as soon as we were talking about that, I'm like, why we're not watching that on Disney Plus right now is probably purely pandemic reasons, because that needs to be the next thing they need to put out. Everybody wants to see that. Non-controversially, everybody wants to see something with Lando because it's such a cool character.
WTF, what? So the reason I put Solo below Rogue One, which is like I could have easily reversed those. Rogue One was awesome because of the ending. Like it was like this whole like
the way they tied it together was
showed the Empire being awful and bad and evil, and you showed the struggle of the rebels and stuff like that. And it was really kind of like a war movie epic. So I like that,
Right. So the way this details things with, man, that's pretty easy then. It's just details. You do a summary, which I guess is kind of your title of your list, and then that creates the whatever this is above this drop down, and then you have this drop down.
And then whatever HTML you put in between the details tag under summary shows up, however you want to make it. You can use
so it can be anything. It doesn't have to be a list. Right. You can put anything under there. That's cool.
Full on Bootstrap in there. Yeah. So this kind of works.
Yeah, that's cool. And then here you put your best Star Wars movie.
Now, before you unreveal this one, this is what I think is the best Star Wars movie poster. And you'll be surprised, but I think we agree on this one, Kevin, to some degree, right?
Oh, I like this poster. Let me shrink it down a little bit because it fits. So that's a poster. It's a damn good poster.
And it's also the poster series that I like. So like when you have the relief letters in there with Lando, Solo, and they're all through the letters is cool. But I like the color and just the whole thing about it. I just thought was the coolest posters. I mean, and then there's the New Hope poster, which is iconic. I get that too.
Exactly. And the one, the one you have right behind you is like it's not actually the full original. Like, what is the original? Like, it's not the one that like everybody knows, but the Star Wars one that you have behind you, I also like that one too. I think it's good because I like the color theme. That one's blue. This one is that one's cold. This one's warm. It's orange. It's like it's good. It's just a good poster.
And so, like the way you got the Millennium Falcon screen in there, and then it shows through the
really
background and the characters in the foreground. Whoever made this, I think, made the best Star Wars poster. That's just my opinion, but I'm sure someone else could rank the posters in lieu of the movies.
People will always put that iconic one kind of behind you. I think at number one, generally you'll find, because it's the original, and just like that,
the original. Yeah, and if you had an original one, they're actually quite rare and quite.
They can. Oh yeah, they can definitely rack up in prize if you have an original in good condition. Definitely. I don't have an original.
That's a reprint back there, so like it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, so so we learned about the detail tag. So like if you want to check it out, make your own Bootstrap accordion. I think you can do it straight from HTML, or use the Bootstrap styling one.
We were talking about this too, and we were talking about this because somebody was like, "You just relying on Bootstrap to do this thing." It's like, okay, like I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding about what Bootstrap actually is and what it does. It's pre-made CSS and JavaScript. That's all it is. And you're just using one tag to kind of to reference it. Like, you could create it yourself. You could create everything in Bootstrap yourself. You could write your own Bootstrap if you want to and call it something else.
Tailwind, something like
that. There you go. They kind of misunderstand what it actually is.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not want to become reliant on it? Why would you not want to be reliant on a shortcut? Like, we can still take horses to work, but we don't. We drive cars.
We don't drive horses to work.
Like, same thing to me. It's crazy. People get very picky about that stuff. They get very sort of touchy about it. It's strange.
They do. And I wish I had the tweet of the guy that was just saying that we're all like bad developers, and the current generation sucks because we don't know what the details tag is.
Right.
Like, as you can see there, you could Google it and learn all you need to know about the detail tag in about a minute. That's why I wrote the code pen. I mean, that's the hill you want to die on. So anyway,
yeah. Oh well.
I would say source set and image tag is way more valuable than the details tag, but that's just me. So
let me see. How do I share this thing here? There we go. I'm going to put it in chat if anybody wants to.
I literally did that in 15 minutes. So like, I don't, if it's not great HTML, that's okay too.
Doesn't matter. It was just to prove the point.
Yeah. So if you want to improve my code pen, fork it and send it back to me.
Yeah. If somebody improves it and sends it back, that'd be awesome. Somebody does something cool with it.
There's a couple of things in there. I'm loading some fonts. If you haven't done that before, I got a background cover image, and I'm using the
you added some style to it too. It wasn't just
and I styled up the LIs, the ordered list. If you didn't know, ordered list automatically numbers your items. So, and then I styled those. So it's kind of,
There you go.
I thought it was cool.
This is why you use these things. Using Bootstrap and Emmet and VS Code, you can have a website layout done in 10 minutes.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
I've used like there's some other ones like Bootstrap like extensions that we use. They can have a layout done in like 8 seconds. Where you just
just to have a basic have your placeholders in place.
$4 and like pick template and bam, you're there and it's already loaded up.
Right. And maybe there is a scenario where you need to understand everything about the grid system, right? Maybe you need to understand that but most of the time you don't. You're like, I just want 3 columns of this. I want one column, and I want a header, and I want like a carousel. And it's like, oh, okay, I can throw that together. That's easy. Just tag those. It's easy. Even I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions then. What we will do, normal thing. We will go through questions in the order they came in. Unless you super chat them. If you super chat, I guarantee you we will answer those questions. I think on Super Chat you can spend as little as $1, right? I think. I don't know. I haven't Super Chatted in a while. I think you can. That'll guarantee that we answer your question. What else?
That's it.
Let's see. That's it. What do we have here? We only have 18 likes. I'd love a bunch more likes for the video. If you guys don't mind that.
We need some likes, man. Give us smash that like button.
That would always help. It encourages. I think if you guys like it early on in the video, it pushes people into it too. Like it pushes it out to other people. so other people get to see it. That would be.
And don't judge me for my solo poster, please. I mean, the posters are cool.
I don't dislike it because it's probably like solo. That's just unfair. You know, we all have our opinions.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do some questions. We had one person here, June Park, who was here real early this morning. So we're going to do June's question first. So June says, I'm a first-year IT student pursuing to become a back-end developer. What are the things I could do outside of the school curriculum to boost my employability on my final year?
Yeah, I think we say this quite a bit is I think building a portfolio and having a project on it is the main thing. So if you're learning C# or Java in your coursework, then use the things that you're learning in your classes and build a project based on that. Sometimes you'll see that done in like a capstone project in your 4th year or whatever. But I wouldn't wait to do that in your 4th year and have some group project. I would build my own project that I could start showing employers right before I graduate, maybe in my 4th year, if you're taking a 4-year degree. So build a project, man. So have something that's functional, that works, that's not just proof of concept. It totally works. And then if you're looking at a back-end developer, unfortunately, you're gonna have to build a website with some kind of front end to it, and then show off your back-end code with a database and things like that. So that's totally what you can do to help.
There you go. Because we've seen lots of graduates from university. They come out of university, firstly, not always knowing necessarily how to code, like in terms of how to throw it all together, right? They know like they know the sort of the parts of it, but they can't put it all together. And secondly, they've never actually built anything.
Yeah, from start to finish.
From start to finish, there's nothing. Yeah, exactly. So you have to kind of pick out your different classes and have thrown all that stuff together yourself and actually have built something. Because we've definitely seen that.
It help you a lot in your learning journey. It help you a lot.
Yep.
So I hope that helps.
Okay, cool. Not a question, but Clara says, hey, and thanks for the videos. They're helpful. So cool. Thank you, Clara.
See another fan of the details tag, Kevin, right there. It's right there.
What's that?
The details tag, essential knowledge. It's essential.
Oh, I don't see that. Hold on.
All right. No, I'm just saying that Clara.
Okay. I thought you meant another comment. Sorry. I was like, I don't see that.
I'm not looking at comments today. So.
Okay. Okay. Question about the course. Salihu wants to know, hello, are you going to go over testing in the course?
We're not going to do it in the first launch. I don't think that's in our first launch, but we will cover that later on. We've got a roadmap that we'll put together that will cover other things, but eventually, we'll get to testing. So,
but it will not be there when we first launch. We're more concentrating on building the apps to start off with than doing that. So I think kind of for us historically, when we've had so in our boot camp, you only have 12 weeks, right? We have to shoehorn a ton of technology and a ton of knowledge into 12 weeks. Everybody that comes to us will say, none of this is easy, and there's almost like there's way too much information. Like they'll always be like, it's like drinking from a fire hose. It's the way that you hear that thing saying all the time. Because it's just a lot of information coming at you, and it doesn't stop for 12 weeks. If you find the second week easy, trust me, 6th week, 7th week, it's not easy. It's never easy. It's just too much information. So we've always had to pick and choose the parts that we've taught, right? So we've been more concentrating on building stuff, but now with this, we can extend this out a little bit so we can do things like testing.
Yeah, the thing too about testing, not every company does it. Oh, I know, shocker, and so, and then the ones that are like kind of really passionate about it think it's the only way to develop, period. And they may be true, but but plenty of people aren't really embracing that because of how they write code and those kind of things. So when we see that in course design, they'll call it a failure because we don't teach that sometimes. It's like, dude, no one really teaches this topic in conjunction with other things. And so unit testing is a topic in of itself that you may or may not see on the job. I wouldn't say
it is a specific job too, right? Right, it's a specific job for somebody too, right? Somebody is a tester.
Well, I mean, it's the way you code, way you have to build things. and the way you have to structure things. And then there's a lot of thought now as we, if you read through a lot of different articles where people have taken testing to like here, if there was it's like,
right.
What do I have to do? And now they're just writing their code to be unit testable, and they're not really focusing in on the product they're delivering sometimes. And sometimes making stuff testable makes things more complex than they need to be. And so like, I'm not an advocate against it. I'm just saying that there's always a balance in there. So like, we don't cover it in the course because we don't have time. And then we also want people to finish our self-paced course. So there's a lot of topics that we'll shove in there. And
that's the thing. Like, you might have one like
core 4 years to complete it. I mean,
exactly.
Like
there's one core through, but there's a million tangents off it. Yeah. Like you could have tangents for days. And we are going to look at some of those things.
Yeah, we'll probably cover unit testing later on down the road, but it'll be like a one-off thing that's off to the side. So
right.
Instead of going back and incorporating the bug tracker, making everything unit testable in the bug tracker, and then what do you do?
Yep.
So I've probably got some hate comments right now.
No, not at all.
The unit tester's like, dude, you suck. Yeah, so that's okay.
I'm going to try and put a mix of questions up of one about the course and then one about something else, so we get a mix. So we're not just talking about the course the whole time, because we could.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I want to provide some value here.
Yeah. So, question: after 12 years working as a mechanical engineer, should I write my CV for my first dev application? How should I write my CV for my first?
Yeah, so we go through this a lot, Kevin. Here at the Bootcamp.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot. I would say 100% of the people that come in are like career switchers of some degree. Maybe they're just switching the stack, or they're just trying to break in. So they have another working life that's in the past. Yep. And so what do you do with this CV? So if you're an electrical engineer or something that's highly technical like that, and you've done a lot of great work there, you've got to put that on your degree. Here's how you can say, hey, I'm also a developer, is reference your portfolio and your project work on top of your experience. And so like that should be the number one. So if you have a killer full stack project, that should be like at the top in your H1 tag, or your big fonts up there, and say, hey, look at my project.
Right.
Because you really want them to look at your project, and then, oh, by the way, I'm also a mechanical engineer.
Right.
So those kind of things.
Yeah, you've got to put the kind of your most valuable foot forward into whatever thing you're doing. So if that is just because you have, let's say that you have 15 years banking experience, right? But you're trying to apply for a developer's job. I would put my portfolio and my development work that I'd done in that before I put my experience in banking on my resume, because I want them to see that first and almost not read the rest of the stuff. I don't want them to see.
Them to click on the link and go look at all your project work, and
exactly.
I think that's what you put first.
Exactly. So you've got to put that stuff like more forward, because some people get confused about that. They genuinely do, because I see why that's the thing. Like, man, I've done this for like 15 years. That's my biggest achievement today. This thing took me like 6 months. I'm going to kind of stick that at the bottom. But you've got to think about the job that you're going for. You've got to put your developer foot forward and kind of push all this other stuff back.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. So he wants to know, how does the online course compare to your in-person bootcamp?
So Hugh, what we're trying to achieve here is that it follows the same projects, the same pacing and the same teaching, so that if you're in our in-person boot camp, you can literally watch the self-paced course and kind of know what you need to learn. And so like, that's why we've mimicked the curriculum and the things we teach in the boot camp in the self-paced course. Here's the major difference between the two, is the teacher interaction. So like our teacher interaction in the in-person boot camp is 8 hours a day, all day, every day, 5 days a week. You get instructors, typically 2 in there at any one given time during a 40-hour work week. And so that's the big difference. And that type of like interaction with the instructors is not going to be present in our self-paced course. That's why it's only $99 a month and not $15,000.
Right.
However, in saying that, if you can work self-paced on your own time, we will have some time with instructors. Like once per week, we'll do a live webinar and maybe demonstrate certain sections of the course and then take questions. But if there's 600 people there, we're not going to answer everybody's question, so like we do online here. But you will be in a Zoom call that's just for people in the course and not just YouTube Live or whatever.
Yeah, it's not exactly. It's not like here. It is just going to be for people in the course. But the thing is, with our self-paced course, we're never guaranteeing that you will get an answer to your question. I guess that's what we're saying too. We don't have a support system to be able to do that at these kind of prices. We just don't, and nobody does, and that's why you don't see this. That's why you don't see a $99 course that has full support 24/7, like 7 support. It doesn't happen because you can't.
And if that doesn't work for you, and I understand that, like, look at our ISA option in our in-person bootcamp, and then you can literally come in for nothing down. It's just the time commitment is the big thing that people can't get around. I gotta work, and so they have to do this on the weekends. And this is where our self-paced course is filling the gap. But they are different products. The same curriculum, you learn the same thing, and we're hoping that the detail that we're putting in the video content itself is sufficient enough to get you around the hump. The other thing is, since it's on our own platform, as we see questions come up on our Discord channel, there'll be opportunities for us to be able to like do add-ons to it, or maybe a frequently asked question video. Hey, we get this quite a bit, and re-lecture some things and put that into the video content. But we also will try to support you on Discord. But if we get 10,000 questions, I mean, we'll try to answer the most repeated ones is what we're going to try to do.
Exactly.
So that we can make the course more self-service.
And actually, part of the reason that we went with kind of a Discord approach too for the support was Discord actually allows for peer-to-peer support too, which is actually one of the best things you can do while learning, is to help somebody else learn something, because it solidifies your own learning. So if somebody comes in there and they just have a simple question about something that you know the answer to, we're gonna want you guys to go ahead and answer it, because it's win-win. It's peer, like you can be part of a community. Other people can answer the questions. It's not all coming back to us, because if we do get 10,000 questions, we're just not gonna be able to answer them. It's not gonna be possible.
And we'll answer the most repeated ones, the most glaring issues.
Exactly. That we see. And we will build that stuff back into the course too. That's definitely part of the plan here.
Yeah. We don't know those questions are until we see them.
Right. We have to put it out there first.
All right. I hope that helps you. I hope to see you in class. It'd be great.
Which surprise? Are we releasing it today as part of Star Wars Day? Are we putting the course out today?
Not today.
Somebody asked. Today. No. Okay. I'm just asking because somebody's going to ask you in a second.
Yeah, we're working on
Actually, I think somebody already did ask. Somebody who did ask in the chat. So, okay. Let me see. Here's a technical question for you, I guess. Abhishek wants to know, can you tell me what payment gateway should I go for an MVC booking website?
Okay, so if you're building a something for MVC or ASP.NET or anything like that, I think the predominant one right now is Stripe. And so Stripe is fairly easy to integrate.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy,
it's probably the best one to use at this point. So for building, for taking payments.
Yeah, so, I don't know its availability like worldwide. I did look it up at one point. There are certain regions where you can only take money. You can't, or you can pay, but you can't receive. I know that's kind of a global thing with Stripe, but that's going to be the same with a lot of these things. A lot of them do have restrictions on that kind of,
So look at your country and see if there's another payment gateway that you have to use. I'm not sure on every locale.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't know either, but I know there are some restrictions for certain parts of the world with Stripe, but you're going to get that with all of them. So
yep.
It's going to be one of those things. Okay. Let's go to the next one. I know you got a good answer for this one. DPM wants to know, can you give me a few examples of good web dev projects for my resume?
We have the one coding project gets you a job. Kevin referenced the video. We talk about building a bug tracker, and we also talk about building a blog. I think that's a good one. The blog serves a couple of purposes. One, if you build your own blog, you have to cover security, roles, database, MVC, web dev, whatever, even if you build React. And then it also allows you to write content, show your expertise as a developer, and then push that content out through Twitter, maybe LinkedIn, or even something like DevTO or Medium, and then you pull them back into your blog software, which can have links to your portfolio, other projects that you've built, things like that. So those are a few examples. Anything that solves a database, that uses a database and solves a business problem of some sort is a really good target for this. Anyway, I hope that helps.
Okay. Here we go. Your opinion on semantic UI.
So semantic HTML, like I've came around to that over the last year, where I'm really starting, instead of making everything a div tag, I think it's
right.
fine. You know, I find myself embracing it more and more as I go along.
Yeah, I think I think that's the case across the board, right? It's got slow adoption, but I think a lot of people are coming around to it because it just makes sense. It makes reading it easier. I'll tell you that.
Makes it a little bit easier to read. You know, that kind of stuff. So I think it's fine.
Yeah.
If you're talking about HTML, that's what I'm talking about. So.
Okay. Let's see. Quick set of questions. Says, what technology approach would you recommend for testing execution speed of a piece of WebAssembly code? For a bit of context, I want to test Rust performance both natively and in several browsers. You do something?
I don't know. Quicks, I would have to like run some tests on that. I don't know why Rust. You would think Rust would run different than say C#, but maybe it does. So because it gets compiled down to bytecode anyway. But I'm sure that you could Google that and find out how people are doing that.
Yeah,
I haven't. This is something I haven't thought about or tried to do.
Right.
I haven't done that one. So like, but that's kind of cool.
Okay. Paul says, for a portfolio side, if you're just starting out, custom build or use a theme?
I think you should use a theme because we're not all designers and we're also not acclimated that way, or we have a kind of leaning towards seeing that design in our head, especially when we're starting out. And so I see a lot of juniors coming through the boot camp or whatever, trying to build their own themes, and they just don't look good. And so your primary goal for your portfolio site is to make it look good and make it functional. So it has to look great and it has to function great. And if you fall down on those things, you can get what I call a soft no, which means that they look at your portfolio.
Right.
They judge you based on the look of it. And it doesn't matter. You're like, hey, I was just learning. I was just trying out. You know, they're not going to give you points for trying. I mean, they're going to give you points for it looking good. And so that's why I use a theme. And I would use a theme if I was building one right now for me. That's what I would do. I absolutely would use a theme. Just remember, I'm not trying to get an HTML job or a CSS job. I'm trying to get a back-end developer job. So like, make it look good.
Right.
So everyone's using themes when they go to the work anyway. So I don't know why you wouldn't use one.
This is funny. Matthew says, yeah, okay, he wants, let's give him odds. So could you advise placing a $200 bet that the course launches late May? I think that's funny. I'll give you.
I have dates in my head, and then Kevin keeps telling me don't announce that date. So like,
hold on. I'm gonna give you 30-1 odds on that. That's 30 to damn 1. Good odds. Okay, that's pretty good odds. That's pretty good odds. You know when it's coming out? You know the official answer to this question? Summer 2021.
Summer. So Kevin doesn't want me to like get us in trouble.
Until we have an actual date, we're never going to say an actual date. That's going to be the thing. So yeah.
But I will say that we're working extremely hard on it, and we're getting closer every day.
Yeah. And that's why I'm not giving you 100-1 odds. That's all I'm saying. If I was so sure that it wasn't going to happen, trust me, I'd give you 1,000,000 odds.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question about the course too, just real quick. Are we going into in depth into security?
So from the MVC standpoint, we cover a lot of topics in security. So we cover cross-site scripting and forms and how that's handled in MVC. We talk about roles and permissions and authorization, authentication, and how you secure a website for login. And then once they're in there, not only do you authorize them, that means what they bring it, or you authenticate them what they're coming in, and then you also authorize them, and that's using roles and things like that. So we cover all those types of things. We also use the entity framework out of the box, which limits a lot of the SQL injection opportunities that you can run into. So there's a lot of things that are just built in the box inside of MVC that we cover inside of that. So there's a discussion that I've built out on image security. So like you'll see when we talk about uploading images, the 3 ways that you can do that. And I'll just give you kind of what discussion would be. Number 1 would be we store images in a database in our thing. And the reason we do that is because the image name itself can be a problem. If you allow them to name it themselves, if you trust the extension that someone loads it up with, that could be a problem. If you allow them to upload the image and take their default path, in order that they path something out in an image name, and then that could also in turn cause you problems. You also need to worry about, if you're uploading to your own server, can you get away with, make sure they can't execute that? And so there's 3 ways you can do it. Number 1, you can upload it upload directly to your web server. This is the most problematic way to do it currently right now, because there's a lot of security problems with that. So the second way you can do it is you could upload to a blob storage like Azure Blob or Amazon S3. That's better, but you do have to remember to secure that blob storage to your website. Once you do that, and then things like execute, you also rename it coming up, you kind of resolve a lot of the issues. The other way is to load it inside the database itself. You don't have to worry about the pathing, you don't have to worry about the name, because it's getting natively renamed into byte64 when you store it. So that's the 3 ways to do it. So we go over a lot about that. And so, I don't know, long way saying we discuss security quite a bit.
So yes. Let me see what's up next.
I don't think you can build an MVC site without talking about security. It's just the way it is.
Right.
So.
Right. Okay. Oh, Althea has a question. Cool. Thanks for coming back. Yeah, Althea was the winner of our course before. So cool. So hey guys, question: at what point do you think I should start working on a project? So far, Althea spent a month covering CSS and HTML, and a month so far on JS. I don't think I covered half there is to JS. I guarantee you haven't even covered 10% of JS. That's the thing with JavaScript. It's so deep and wide.
So in our bootcamp, we have multiple projects that we build. The first ones that we build are just strictly front-end projects. And so we build those with JavaScript. One of the things that you can think about doing is building out a UI, accepting form values from that UI, passing it to your JS, doing something with it, and then updating the UI. For example, think about this little mini project that you could do. Take in 2 numbers, like a start value and an end value, and when they click the button, you will take that start value and end value, you'll pass that to an array and print out all the numbers between the start and end value on the screen. Simple JavaScript project. You learn about arrays, you learn about manipulating the DOM, and then you can expand that to maybe something like a Fizz Buzz, and then to take it to really far to the next level, that same kind of project is build something like a mortgage calculator. They basically take 2 values or 3 values and then print a range of numbers out based on a calculation. Anyway, I hope that helps.
Cool. I want to talk about one thing. You have on a brand new swanky T-shirt. I don't have mine on today, but I do. They did finally come in.
Double Vision.
What do we call this? Shirt. Double Vision Coder Foundry shirt. And I actually just pulled it up on Teespring. You can grab those here on our Teespring store, which I will. Let me I'll put that in chat here.
So I was lurking in the class the other day before class started, Kevin.
Yeah.
There's showing our live web developer.
See me copying it and pasting it in there. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So I was lurking around, and
there we go. That's it. Sorry. Yeah.
And it was funny, and I was listening to the people talking. We're not in there yet, and sometimes they're just having conversations. And one of the guys remarked, he says, I went full on Coder Foundry fanboy and bought some merch, and they had bought this shirt, I think. And it's kind of funny that he bought the mug as well.
That's cool. I like that. That's cool. I like that. So yeah, we do still have some of the old stuff up there too, but we put up this newer Double Vision shirt. I think it's cool. I like mine. I've worn it a few times already. It's funny because people got them before we got ours. Like we had, I ordered some, right, and they misdelivered them somehow. I don't know what they did with them. They got sent back to sender, so we had to reorder some to get some in. So they took forever to get to us. But it's not normally that long.
Yeah,
but
to
they're
pick
cool.
you up a
I
double
like it.
vision shirt. It's kind of cool. I like it.
Definitely. I think it's a cool shirt. Okay.
So just ask us a question if you've got a burning question. Super chat us, and Kevin will get to it. We can get a Star Wars Day Stormtrooper or Han Solo on the screen if you want to super chat. See that for May 4th.
Makes sense, doesn't it? So where to start to learn web development? Which things do we have to focus on more? So I'm guessing this is a brand new question. Somebody who's
brand new learner. And so I saw a tweet the other day that said it doesn't matter where you start. I thought it was some of the worst advice ever in Twitter tech.
So where are they suggesting you start then? You start learning Java?
They were saying that if I tell someone how to do it and where to start, I'm being a gatekeeper and some kind of like elitist. And I'm like, no, there's an actual path for this like that works, So I'm just going to tell you, man, if you're going to start web development, you absolutely have to know HTML and CSS. That's just like, you can't build a web page in web development without knowing HTML and CSS. You technically can build one without JavaScript. All right. But so that'd be the third thing that I would learn, and actually you could learn HTML, CSS, skip JavaScript and learn something like ASP.NET MVC because you can do it without much JavaScript, period. But I don't think that's a good path. I think the best path is HTML, CSS, learn how to lay out pages, pick up something like Bootstrap after that. And then Bootstrap will solidify or make your designs look better. It gives you a grid system. It gives you a lot of things to help the layout look great. Then pick up JavaScript because you got to manipulate the DOM, those kind of things, and then pick up a server-side language like C# or Java. I think that's the approach I would take. But focus on HTML and CSS first.
Which are also the easier things too, by the way. But don't feel like you're gonna get through HTML and CSS and you're like, man, I'm like a web wizard now. You're going to hit a wall.
That's going to be right after the launch. We'll probably do that in fall. React will be in the fall. So like as soon as we launch the course in the summer, the next things that we'll be doing are React and Blazor. We'll do those at the same time, release them at the same time because those are both ways to build SPI applications. One is the Microsoft preferred way, which is Blazor, obviously. And then there's also React, which is built right into Visual Studio. The difference is in our React course is we're not using Node. We will use web APIs on the back end. And so you'll learn about web API and learn how to hook that up to React and Blazor. So that's kind of what we'll do. And I think a lot of people are using React as a front end templating engine and then web API on the back end. So you'll still be using C# on the back end.
While we're talking about Microsoft, what do you think about this? You think it's going to tank our stock? It's going to be an issue. You think it affects the company in any way whatsoever?
Nah,
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
I don't think it matters. It might affect the philanthropy side of things, maybe, but they're saying it won't.
Yeah.
But I don't buy that anyway. I don't think it's I don't think it's a big deal. The news over here is making a giant deal out of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it affects the stock based on people's perception of it just being like, oh, it's the Microsoft guy. Let's sell off Microsoft. But
yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. I think something we have to worry about.
One of my favorite tweets of last year was this guy was standing in line getting a burger, and he was behind Bill Gates. Bill Gates was standing in line to get a burger.
Bill Gates doesn't stand in line to get a burger. What are you talking about? That doesn't happen. He's just a person.
It's funny. And he was like, I guess, a regular dude. He's just, but like, I don't know if Bill Gates, he's recognizable, but he's not like, I don't think people are going to fawn over Bill Gates like they would if you saw, a musician. I don't know.
I think it depends. James. I don't know. It depends who you are, doesn't it? Like if I met Bill Gates, I'd be like, this is awesome. Like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? Like this would be, I would prefer to meet him than lots of like, movie stars or rock stars or whatever. I think that would be cool. But I think you're right. I think the average, everyday sort of person in public doesn't really care.
They probably wouldn't know who he was, actually, honestly. I mean,
Maybe
he's
not.
famous, but yeah.
Yeah. He's famous and people
whereas
know his name, but maybe
Jimmy
don't know him.
Fallon, you saw Jimmy Fallon or somebody like that, you would instantly know who he is. So
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
I saw the other day where Adam Sandler went to an IHOP, and they were so busy they couldn't seat him, and they asked him. They said you have to come back later, and he quietly left. He didn't say anything, and everyone was like congratulating him for not being like a diva.
I like that. Yeah, no, I think that's great. He's a normal person, like
Yeah, he was just trying to get some IHOP with his kids, So like,
he's a normal person with a couple of good movies and a lot of terrible
IHOP pancakes.
Right.
They're pretty good.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Let's see. Another question. What do we got? Oh, this is a good one. I think you'll like this one. Patricio has a follow-up question, or a different question, actually. Do you guys think blockchain development / coding has a big part in the future? I'm not in that at all. What do you think about blockchain?
I think you need to focus on what you want to build. And so, like I say this a lot, if you want to break in to blockchain development, then you need to like break into blockchain development. That means probably Ethereum, and learn how to use that and build an app on that. You got to know kind of where you're going, what you're going to use it for, and why you would use it. What's your use case? Is there a development for it in the future because Bitcoin is popular? I don't think that's what's going to drive us building things on blockchain, because
I don't think
Bitcoin
so either.
is built on blockchain. I mean, that's not really what it's about.
It's an implementation of blockchain. So
yeah, exactly.
What's the other implementations of blockchain?
Right. And I think that's where the technology in general will struggle, because what is the next thing for blockchain?
Yeah.
Now,
I don't think
probably some blockchain enthusiasts that can run down 10,000 apps to me and go, oh, but you don't know, you could do this, 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 and this, and this. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But I think in general, if you had to say how many web dev jobs will be out there in the next 10 years versus how many blockchain jobs will be out there, and I promise you it's going to be like 10 or 20, maybe even 50 to 1 web dev over blockchain jobs. So would I try to break in and base my entire career on blockchain? No. If I was already coding and I was interested in that and I wanted to do those kind of work, that's when I would branch out.
Exactly. It's an interesting technology with a potential
job,
future.
Not your first.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a brand new technology with a potentially interesting future. You could be in on the ground floor of something that does blow up, and maybe it is. Maybe there's blockchain, like you say. Somebody out there has probably thought of the idea but hasn't implemented it yet. I mean, you look at like NFTs, right? That's kind of blown up recently with the non-fungible tokens, with the art kind of side of things. I wouldn't have ever thought that would have been a thing. Like, it seems like the weirdest idea ever. You could tell me now about it, but like, I still don't quite get it.
I don't quite get it either, but like, whatever.
Like, it's still kind of confusing.
I mean, even if it is fungible, you can't make another one.
Right. Like, exactly. It's kind of weird.
Completely unique. All right.
I think that from my perspective, I think the blockchain is when we can use it for something security related. I think that's when because the uniqueness of it and that kind of stuff. That's when it becomes interesting for me. Can we tie our identities to it somehow? Is there something like that?
The problem with blockchain is things like scalability, and like you got to solve the problem of each individual node holding all the items. And so once you have something that's like really, really large, like in the hundreds of millions or 200 million type contracts, and you got to keep up with all this stuff, it becomes problematic on the scalability side. Now, obviously Bitcoin and all these other guys have figured that out. But like when you roll it to other problem domains, it becomes a problem, more like a performance bottleneck.
Right.
So, but doesn't mean it can't be fixed. It doesn't mean other people aren't working on it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, anyway, hope that helps.
Okay, so just a few more here. We're coming up to the top of the hour. Oh, actually, so a man wants to know, is C# worth learning? Or C? Sorry,
C
worth learning?
We're going to assume that you mean C. Sure, if you're doing that kind of development. If you're doing like embedded development or you're working at low-level development, yeah, C is definitely worth knowing. I mean, it's the way it's pretty much done nowadays for those types of jobs. If you're asking me, should I learn just C and that's the only thing I know how to do? Yep. If you're interested in those types of engineering type projects, yeah, learn that. But if you're going to break into web development, then C is not worth learning at this point. You won't use it in web development. So, Anyway,
Okay.
I don't think it's like learn a language and then to try to apply that knowledge to something else. I mean, C is used in different scenarios.
Right.
So.
Couple things before we do a couple more questions, but don't forget, if anybody has a hook in for one of these, let me know. I really do want to know. Email me, info@Foundry. If anyone knows where I can get one of these, that'd be great. Next, let me do this question. Oldest student we've had. Remember the oldest student? No, we'll have to name the person.
I'm going to guess at this, but we've had several over 60.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly the age, but over 60.
Yeah, 62, 63 probably be the oldest. We've had one lady that was 59 that walked out of here amazingly successful. It's crazy. The job she got out of here.
Yeah.
But super smart lady, had programmed in the past, but it was RPG, and just picked up web development, taught math in between that. Really, really, really smart.
Yep.
And then just went on to do some fantastic things. So,
yep,
definitely. I think old is a state of mind. And when I hear, "and my 28 is my life over and I can't code," I mean, that's the one that's laughable. I mean, to me, that's just laughable. And even all the way up through your 40s, that's laughable. Like, it's just like, it's not a thing unless you think it is. And so, like, I think that's where we go into the psyche of the individual. Have you quit learning? Have you quit exploring? Do you have the energy to learn new things and invest time in those kind of things? And if you don't, then maybe coding, you are too old to learn coding, because coding is a lifelong learning thing. Even when you learn how to code and how to do it, you're going to spend the rest of your career learning new things and how to build it the different way and learn new techniques. And if that's not exciting to you, then coding may not be relevant. Yeah.
Oh,
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rogue One and C# or Solo and React?
If I had to pick two.
No, you got to go with, no, this is, Paul, I like this. This is good. So you got to pick either Rogue One and C# or Solo and React.
You know where I'm going with this one, don't you, Kevin?
Yeah, you're going Rogue One and C#.
100%. I would pick, put this way, I would pick The Last Jedi in C#. I would pick Phantom Menace and the C#.
Wow. Paul, did you
I'm
hear
a
that?
fan, but like C# makes me money, dude. Like, so.
That's funny.
So anyway,
that's funny. That was a no-brainer. That was an easy one.
That was easy. He thought he had me. So
that's funny.
That's a good question.
That's funny.
Paul.
I like it. Picking his 1 and 2 and then putting React up against C#. I like it. Just one last thing. This is kind of unrelated to kind of what we do. How to get more views on YouTube? Have any trick or rule? Yes, I have one rule for YouTube to get views. One rule, and it is make great content. Yeah. I know that seems silly, but the rest of the stuff will just happen. It's that simple.
Can I give my theory on this?
Yeah, go for it.
My theory may not be right, but we've done this. We have done this.
Okay.
It's like internal to what we've done.
Yep.
So one of the things that you can do is, all right, you got to number one, you got to have a niche. I'm going to make videos about coding, 100%. Or I'm going to make videos about exercise, or I'm going to make videos about whatever.
And it can't even just be a wide niche either. It can't just be like, you can't just be about exercise. You have to be like exercising with goats. That will be a way more successful channel than a generic exercise channel.
Yeah. So, but what I would say is, let's say that we want to build one on exercises. I would look at all of my competitors in the YouTube space, the other creators, and see the videos that they're making it on. Yep. And then I would look at their most successful video and I would make a video on that topic. I wouldn't copy their video.
Right.
But I would look at the titles and the tags and everything that they're using. And what you want to do is appear in the search list of projects. So like if you go ahead and go out and show a YouTube page, Kevin, on a YouTube search and just type in coding project. And you'll see what happens.
Yeah, if I do that, if I go there and I do code, where am I? Coding project. I know we're actually signed in, but it's the same way if you're not signed in too. We're at the top of that list.
This is where we own the coding project kind of views on that. But you can see there's some other channels in there that have coding project. in there, and some are bigger than ours, some are smaller than ours. But like that's one example of like where you want to make a project that has a lot of videos with 1 million plus views in there, and then you want to tag it in the title, tag it up, and then put it in there. So I think that's my advice if you want more views. But you also got to make good content. I mean, like it has to be good when you make it. You can't.
At the end of the day, you can do all the little tricks. You can watch every video on how to like tag your things and label your things and make great cards. All of that stuff's important. But if your content sucks and no one is going to watch it all the way through, then it's pointless. The YouTube algorithm will just kill you. If people don't watch a lot of your content, what happens is the YouTube algorithm will take into account like not only just click-throughs, right? So how good your card is, but then also how much of the video that person watches. So if somebody watches it for 30 seconds and you've got a 10-minute video, YouTube will just bury your video. You'll never appear in search. You'll never get recommended because your video content is bad. If your video content is good, people will watch more of it and YouTube will recommend you more. So the biggest thing is make good content
and commitment. And what I tell everyone if they're starting a YouTube channel, which I actually talk to a lot of people about this very topic.
People always ask about it, don't they?
Off camera.
Off camera, they always ask.
How do I'm doing this? What am I doing? And what I always say is, if you're starting a YouTube channel and you really want to go after this, you need to commit to making 52 videos, which is like 1 video a week, and commit to a year of your time to be able to do it. And then after that year, you can determine if your content's good or not.
Yeah, because that's what else you more than likely won't see too. It is a unicorn that blows up a channel in a very, very short period of time. It happens, you see it, but it's a unicorn. Ask Paul, ask Coding After 30 how long it's taken him to build up his channel. Ask Tech Rally, ask Alex how long it's taken up to build a channel. It takes time and it takes a massive amount of effort. And here you go. He sums it up. YouTube is hard. YouTube is hard. YouTube is a long game. It is a very, very long game. You have to be here for a minute. We've been here for 2 years. I mean, yes, we have, what are we now, 65,000 subs. But if you look at, there's some other channels that have blown up in 2 weeks to that. But trust me, they are a unicorn. Do not expect that kind of amount of return after a few weeks. It takes years.
And I would say too that subscriber isn't the only metric you should judge it by. You should judge it by views. Is probably a better metric than just subscriber count. Subscriber count is the bling on the ring. You know what I mean, like that. But like
we have to kind of track something,
and everyone tracks it that way. But like views is where it's at. That's where internally, if your channel is getting lots of views, regardless of subscriber count, because we have 80% of our views come from non-subs. And I think that's about true for every channel on YouTube.
That is pretty much true across the entirety of YouTube. 80% of the people that watch your videos do not subscribe to your videos. They don't subscribe to your channel.
Now, having said that, when we get to 100,000 subs, we're going to throw a party, Kevin. we want that plaque.
We're giving away something big at 100,000. I'll tell you that.
If we get to 100,000, something huge.
Yes. So, yeah, that's going to be cool.
But like, we're trying. It may take us 5 more years to get there. I don't know, but like, it'd be awesome if we got there this year. But we'll see.
Yeah, that would be super, super cool. Okay. Anything else we're going to add? Anything else? Star Wars Day.
I think that's it. Star Wars Day. Go check out my code pen. Go check out my code pen. My exceptional code pen on Star Wars.
That's it. Anybody finds one of these, let me know. Info at Code of Foundry. Saying.
Get you that sweet R2D2 logo.
I really want that R2D2. It sucks.
All right. Well, I hope you had fun on this Stay Star Wars. Watch a movie. If you can take it to yourself, maybe watch Solo. It's vastly underrated. So may not be in your top 5, but it's not number 11 either. So like,
but it's in Bobby Davis's, and just again, views expressed in the section, not the views of Code of Foundry, the views of Bobby Davis.
I love it. All right. Good luck and keep coding, guys. We'll see you on Thursday.
We'll see you guys later.